Discover the incredible 5 words that transformed a billionaire's heart and stunned 200 diners. Ethan Parker adjusted the cufflinks on his tailored suit, the familiar sting of cold metal juxtaposing the weight of grief he could not shake. He was a titan in the unforgiving concrete maze of New York's financial district, revered for his shrewdness, despised for his ruthless ambition. But standing by his mother's casket, he felt stripped of his armor. The glint of his empire, the skyscrapers and well-tailored suits vanished behind the shadows of his past. Guilt seeped in as he recalled neglected birthdays, missed soccer games, brief phone calls filled with stale pleasantries. His estranged daughter, Mia, had vanished from his life just as he had from hers, and now, at her grandmother's funeral, that absence weighed heavier than the cold ground beneath him. As he turned to leave, the icy wind howled, echoing the loneliness he felt creeping in. His phone buzzed in his pocket, instantly stirring memories of missed opportunities with Mia. Each glance around the funeral gathering reminded him how starkly he had chosen business over family. He had built an empire, buried within it the ghosts of loved ones who felt cast aside. Crippling regret clawed at him as he left the cemetery, a bubble of applause and hollow laughter waiting for him at the annual charity gala that evening. The venue was a testament to his success, lavish chandeliers sparkling like diamonds above heads devoid of warmth. He floating through conversations, plastering on a charming smile while internal chaos ensued. With every smile he forced, the memories of Mia's childhood flashed through his mind, her bright laughter, the way she'd chosen to curl up with a book in the corner while he pored over contracts. The irony stung. Wealth offered him everything, yet in its pursuit, he lost what mattered most. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The gala began to unfold, speeches recounted, lives transformed through his wealth. Ethan found himself watching 2 old classmates share stories of their struggles, their voices filled with sincerity, strength rising from adversity. As their words struck chords of resonance, Ethan's comfortable facade withered, revealing a world filled with complexity. They breathed life into the experience he had shunned, highlighting every hardship he had overlooked. Those very struggles mirrored his daughter's lost years. Then, like thunder cracking the evening's facade, Mia stood up, cutting through laughter and mundane chatter. Her voice was firm, piercing the air as if calling forth the ghosts of all his decisions. I needed you back then. Time froze, every head turned, disbelief flying across the room as the breath seemed to leave it. Ethan's pulse quickened, and he could feel the heat rising in his face, shame contorting with anger, fear mingling with guilt as he faced her. Every eye locked onto him, haunted by her truth as the reverberation of her words enveloped him. The grand hall felt like it was shrinking, the opulence morphed into a suffocating mantle, constricting around his chest. In that moment, internal compasses spun wildly, and he felt the ground shake beneath his feet. What good was his wealth if it had severed the bonds of love? The facade of success began to crumble as he stood there, heart racing, teetering on a precipice of self-realization, confronted by an uncomfortable paradox: needed family against ruthless ambition. Ethan's breath quickened. In that instant, he was caught between his legacy and the relationship he had neglected. The glint of the chandelier above morphed into a glaring spotlight on his decisions, loomed over him like a judgment. Could he redefine success and mend the broken connection with Mia? Would using his wealth to uplift those who felt the pain of neglect ever heal the rift he had created? As uncertainty churned violently within, he faced the audience, the weight of his choices hanging heavily in the air, the silence palpable. His next words could either shatter him completely or set him on a path toward redemption, and he was caught right at that moment of anguish, his legacy teetering dangerously as he prepared to speak. The room buzzed with a tension that could slice through steel. Ethan's heart raced, caught between instinctual defenses and the undeniable truth of Mia's words. What had he built if all it offered was an empty mask? The harsh light of reality bore down on him. He felt stripped of everything: the wealth, the accolades, the prestige. He was just a father facing a daughter he had failed. He inhaled deeply, eyes meeting Mia's. In them, he saw a reflection of his past mistakes and the myriad ways he had chosen success over family. He had chased shadows, thinking they would fill the void, but they only deepened it. The words felt lodged in his throat, a barricade keeping the truth at bay. Silence clung to the air, its weight becoming palpable. What would he say? In that moment of hesitation, clarity washed over him. This was not just a chance for redemption, it was almost a reckoning. The audience awaited something profound, and he realized, perhaps for the first time, that true success was not in bank accounts but in connections. "I'm sorry," he finally uttered, the apology raw and layered. The audience shifted, a murmur rippling through the crowd. Ethan continued, his voice gaining strength, "I've been a fool. I allowed ambition to blind me to what truly matters. I lost sight of my own family while chasing glory." His words fell like bricks in the silence. And as much as he feared judgment from those who celebrated his success, he felt a strange, exhilarating freedom. Ethan Parker, the untouchable billionaire, was now vulnerable, stripped down to his struggles and anguish. There was no turning back. He had opened the floodgates of accountability. "Every moment I spent away from you, Mia, cut deeper than any business failure. I built an empire thinking it would secure our future, only to realize it cost me a relationship with my daughter." He paused, gauging Mia's reaction. Her expression was a mixture of disbelief and subdued hope, tension still visible in the tightness of her jaw. For the first time, he allowed emotions to surface publicly: the regret, fear, and yearning for reconciliation. "I want to change. I wish to be there for you. To support you in any way you need, even if it's just to listen." The murmurs escalated, the air crackling with energy. Would they accept this change? Were they ready to see him differently? More importantly, were Mia and Ethan ready? For Mia, the hardness in her gaze softened just a fraction. There was an openness emerging beneath the guarded shield she had built. His heart raced, ignited by a flicker of hope. Yet, doubt lingered like a smog, weaving through memories of years lost. Could words erase years of absence? "Words are just words, Ethan," she finally answered, her voice a quiet storm. "It's actions that matter now. You can't just say you want to be there, you have to show it." Emboldened by her honesty, Ethan nodded, determination ignited within him. This moment wasn't just about public admission, it was the beginning of a painstaking journey. He knew he had to radically reshape how he interacted with life, adopting authenticity over ambition. "I will," he vowed, his voice steadier. "I will prove it, Mia. This is just the beginning." The audience's rapt attention bore witness to his resolve. Life beyond mere business insights awaited him, an uncharted territory where love and reconnecting with his daughter would carve a new path. Yet as he spoke, doubt echoed. Could he truly embrace this transformation? Could he shift from a world built on competition to one of compassion? The enormity of self-discovery loomed on the horizon, a precipice of change close enough to taste, yet daunting in its scope. Ethan's heart pounded as he reviewed the daunting journey ahead: a father navigating the complexities of a fractured family relationship, redefining his aspirations beyond the solitary pursuit of wealth. He dared to envision a version of himself guided by connection and understanding. But would he still have the strength to confront the challenges that lay ahead, both personally and professionally? Or would the shadows of his former self prove to be insurmountable? The moment of reflection took him by surprise, a new light dawning on what he needed to face, illuminating paths that once seemed irrelevant but now felt crucial to return to Mia with the sincerity and effort she deserved. Even more importantly, could he face the looming specter of regret with renewed purpose? As the silence hung in the air, the weight of commitment coiled around him, and with each passing second, the distance between them shrunk ever so slightly. The future loomed before him, raw and uncertain, but hope was now flickering within the void. Was it enough to challenge his past and build the future he fervently desired? The stage felt foreign beneath Ethan's feet, the spotlight illuminating not his accomplishments, but his failures. The audience was a sea of faces, some familiar, others strangers, and he could feel their expectations wrapped tightly around him like a shroud. To them, he was an icon, but today he stood exposed, confronting the man he had become. The words he spoke had been a calculated effort, but within them lay a newfound resolve already emerging from the ashes of his past. He stepped off the stage as applause washed over him. Instead of the triumphant sensation he usually craved, a heavy weight settled in his chest. Mia lingered at the edge of the crowd, her expression still inscrutable, a reflective pool of cautious optimism. What must she think of him now? Each step towards her felt monumental, not just as a father approaching his daughter but as a man attempting to rekindle a connection that had long been dormant. He caught glimpses of the well-known faces from the media, those who had captured his life story and touted his achievements while neglecting the reality behind them. They didn't see the hollow echoes of success ringing mockingly in his ears, nor the mountains of regret piled high in the corners of his heart. "Mia," he said, searching her eyes for any sign of understanding. "I meant what I said. I realize now I need to make this right." She nodded slowly, her gaze shifting from hope to skepticism. "You talked about change, Dad, but what does that really mean?" Her question hung in the air, cutting against his freshly built resolve like a sharp blade. He had no experience with vulnerability. His plans had always been meticulously prepped, calculated. He needed a new strategy, one based not on monetary gain or public perception, but on genuine actions rooted in openness. "I want to be your father," he admitted, voice low but steady. "That means being present, even when it's hard. And I need your guidance in this. Tell me what you need from me." Mia crossed her arms defensively. "I need to know you'll show up for the small things, birthday dinners, school events, just checking in. These moments matter, and they weren't in your empire." The realization crashed upon him like a tidal wave. All the hours spent negotiating deals, traveling around the globe, chasing after wealth had led to a bankruptcy of the heart. He nodded, the gravity of her words reshaping his understanding of success. "I'll be there, Mia. I'll start attending the small things, and we can set aside time for just us." "I'm not convinced," she replied, a cool edge in her voice. "You say you want to change, but what happens the minute something comes up at work?" The challenge lay before him, stark and unyielding. His past self would have faltered, immersing himself in business, chasing the next high. But now he stood before her, a man torn between the weight of legacy and the desire to embrace something far more fulfilling, being a father. "I can't promise that it will happen overnight, but I'm willing to put in the effort," he said, rallying a growing determination. "I've spent my life running from emotions, and it's time to face them head-on." Mia's expression softened, just slightly, but doubt lingered in her eyes. "Just remember, actions speak louder than words." Ethan nodded, grateful for the chance to rewrite his narrative. He would cultivate patience, allowing the roots of this father-daughter relationship to strengthen over time. But as he left the venue, a gnawing anxiety took hold. Could he sustain this commitment amidst the relentless demands from work and the pressures of his empire? Once outside, the cool evening air enveloped him. The vast city sprawled before him, shimmering with a false sense of unyielding success. It felt as though he was living on borrowed time, walking a tightrope between ambition and connection. The question loomed large: would his career always pull him back into its grasp? As he drove home, the reality of the road ahead settled heavily on him. Each decision would serve as a test of his newfound commitment, and every encounter would push the limits of his transformed self. Would he be able to resist the siren call of ambition? Would he falter under the weight of expectations his world so eagerly demanded? In the gripping silence of the car, one thing became abundantly clear: this journey was just beginning, and the real battle lay ahead, not just for Mia's trust, but for his own sense of identity. As he navigated the darkness of his thoughts, the path ahead twisted and turned, leaving Ethan with one burning realization. He was about to face the true challenge of his life, the daily choice to prioritize love over success. But would that choice hold strong against the doubts that loomed like shadows at dusk? Ethan drove through the winding streets, the glow of streetlights punctuating the suffocating darkness that enveloped him. Each turn felt more like a dive into uncertainty than a motion toward home. He could almost hear the relentless ticking of a clock in his mind, reminding him of the fleeting opportunities to connect with Mia. A gnawing fear settled deep within him, not just about failing in his commitment as a father, but also about the prospect of returning to the very person he was trying to escape. Weeks passed, and despite his newfound resolve, the tug-of-war between his professional obligations and personal commitments played out on a near-daily basis. The meetings piled up, his empire's expectations were back to knocking on his door, relentless as ever. He often found himself staring at the sleek glass buildings from the conference room window, reminding himself of the thin line he walked between ambition and familial connection. One afternoon, as he sat reviewing a crucial merger with his team, his phone buzzed with a message from Mia. "Dad, are you coming to my soccer game?" At that moment, the room felt dense, the air thick with the weight of expectation from his colleagues. He struggled with his answer. He could already hear the voices of his advisors whispering about the importance of closing this deal, the potential profits dancing before his eyes like a siren's call. But there was Mia, on the other end, reaching out, seeking the father she barely knew. "I'll be there," he typed, even as he felt the undercurrent of doubt surging. This time, he meant it. That Friday evening, as he parked on a dusty side road near the soccer field, anticipation coursed through him like electricity. It was a moment that mattered, one he forced himself to prioritize, setting aside the demands of his empire for the fleeting joy of watching his daughter play. As he stepped onto the grass, the sounds of laughter and excitement filled the air, grounding him in the reality of the moment. As the sun dipped beneath the horizon, Mia's face lit up, the familiar defensive posture relaxing as she spotted him in the crowd. Their eyes met, and there it was, a tentative bridge beginning to span the previously yawning chasm between them. She sprinted toward him at halftime, excitement radiating from her as she recounted the game. Ethan listened intently, not just for the words but for her emotions, which crackled like fireflies in the dusk. "Did you see my assist?" She beamed, her confidence rising as he nodded enthusiastically. "I did. You're incredible, Mia. You're really growing." The truth of his words resonated within him, and for the first time, he felt warmth where there had once been only the cold weight of regret. But as the game progressed, so did the heaviness of the unanswered questions nagging at him. What would happen when the next big meeting called for his attention? Would he crumble under the pressure, disappearing back into the confines of his office, sacrificing future moments for short-term gain? After the game, as they shared slices of pizza under the fading light, he caught her gaze lingering on him, searching for something beyond the father she wanted him to be. The flicker of doubt in her eyes reminded him that one game would not mend years of absence. It was going to take far more than a single night to rebuild trust. He realized the real challenge would be consistent dedication, transforming their relationship into an authentic bond. "Dad, can we do this again?" she asked, a glimmer of hope sparking in her voice. "Absolutely," he replied, perhaps a bit too eagerly. His heart ached with the knowledge that just saying it wasn't enough. Once home, Ethan's resolve felt as precarious as his dreams. The pressure of his empire loomed like a dark cloud. The realization struck him again: this balance required a commitment beyond mere words or gestures. It demanded daily sacrifices. He opened his journal later that night, flicking through pages filled with half-formed resolutions. None had truly captured what he needed to express until now. He wrote, "I choose love, daily, consistently." As he looked at those words etched in ink, a new fear uncoiled within him. Would the world allow him to break free from the grip of his ambitions? Or would he find himself entangled once more in the very things he vowed to leave behind? Facing those unknowns brought clarity, forging an internal resolve stronger than ambition, a commitment to choosing family over fleeting success. Little did he know, choices would soon collide in ways he never anticipated, compelling him to question the foundations of his very identity. The real test loomed just around the corner, promising to challenge everything he was striving for or against. Would he be prepared for what lay ahead? Ethan awoke the next morning with the sunlight filtering through his window, illuminating the clutter of the past few weeks, a subtle reminder of the chaotic balance he sought between career and family. The journal entry from the night before echoed in his mind, the weight of those words pressuring him to find actionable steps beyond mere intentions. Choosing love wasn't just a passive act, it required strategy and fierce determination. He made his way to the kitchen, brewing coffee while reflecting on how he could reshape his schedule to accommodate both business and Mia. The thought of missing another game or a moment to bond roiled within him. Despite the increasing chaos at work, he'd rather lose a deal than another opportunity to connect with his daughter. There was power in that realization, a shift in focus that had previously eluded him. Later that day, as he prepared for a meeting, he took a moment to strategize. A plan swirled in his mind, one that involved communicating openly with his team about his new priorities. He recognized that while his career ambitions were crucial, they couldn't exist in a vacuum devoid of personal obligations. With newfound resolve, Ethan stepped into the boardroom, feeling unusually light yet intensely aware of the expectations hanging in the air. Before we dive into projections, he began, surprising himself with the conviction in his voice, I need to address something crucial. I hope I can count on your understanding. My daughter has an important soccer game this Friday, and I intend to attend. His announcement hung in the air, and a murmur rippled through the room. He braced for resistance, but instead, a couple of his colleagues nodded. It turned out they appreciated the honesty, they were balancing their own personal lives as well. As the meeting progressed, Ethan actively engaged instead of retreating. His teamwork on the merger heightened as he found that part of leading was not just about executing plans but being genuine and approachable. The shared experience encouraged collaboration and trust within the group that he had previously underestimated. Fueled by this positive interaction, he reached out to Mia after the meeting. What time is your game on Friday? I want to make sure I cheer the loudest, he messaged, holding his breath. As she replied with an excited text, a wave of warmth washed over him. This was no longer about one single game, it was about transforming their relationship into something deeper, more integrated. A chance to become the father he truly aspired to be. Yet, the tug of his business ambitions loomed over him, the pressure from his superiors palpable. How could he juggle this new commitment while still delivering results? The fear of being torn between two worlds was intimidating. With every passing hour, he felt the impending meeting that would outline the stakes of the merger inching closer, pulling at him with unexpected ferocity. As he left work that evening, two shadows followed him, one of his thriving career and the other of a rekindled connection with Mia. He now faced a dilemma: leverage his charisma and expertise to strengthen his business while not sacrificing his intent to prioritize his daughter's world. A paralyzing thought struck him: was his new commitment merely a facade in the face of enduring corporate demands? Ethan took a seat in a nearby park, overwhelmed by the choices before him. The reality of his situation pressed against him, as he weighed his career's promises against the budding relationship with his daughter. A sudden determination sparked within him. It's time to redefine success, he whispered to himself, noting that this journey required conscious effort and thoughtful decisions. With clarity slowly taking root in his mind, Ethan recognized the need to orchestrate the next steps, seek balance, and not allow fear to dictate his choices. But as he left the park, a single unsettling thought loomed: what dark consequences lay ahead for this newfound clarity, the as yet unseen sacrifices that would test him beyond his limits? The answers took a backseat to the immediate sensation of urgency, driving him toward an impending confrontation that could alter everything he was building. Would he find the resilience to navigate this swirling storm, or would the pressures of his ambitions pull him back into the darkness he feared? Ethan's resolve crystallized in the storm of uncertainty as he transitioned from the park's temporary calm back to the chaotic rhythm of his day-to-day life. However, clarity did not translate into immediate understanding. Each ringing phone or email ping reminded him of commitments tethered to his career, a constant reminder of the urgency that pulsated through every task. He shuffled papers on his desk, preparing for the merger meeting that could cement his future but also demand everything from him. Sitting in the conference room, surrounded by slick slideshows and charts projecting profits, he felt a pang of discomfort. The competitive banter, filled with high-stakes jargon, seemed almost alien to him now. What felt like energy before had devolved into a shadowed tension, where he struggled to reframe the conversation. Was ongoing success in business all that mattered, or was there more to life that transcended boardrooms and balance sheets? He leaned back in his chair, attempting to refocus. With every word spoken by his colleagues, he questioned not just his role but his values. The tension in the room rose as their discussions veered toward aggressive expansion strategies that required him to ask deep sacrifices of his personal time. "Ethan, how can we shift the timeline and still meet projections?" His supervisor inquired, his voice carrying an undercurrent of urgency. Ethan hesitated, the face of his daughter flashing in his mind. "We need to ensure that we're not rushing into this for the sake of visibility," he countered instinctively, surprising even himself with the steadiness of his voice. "Our integrity and ability to maintain our workforce motivation are just as important as any financial gain." The faces around him shifted, surprise mingling with skepticism at his deviation from typical corporate rhetoric. This was not the time they would usually welcome introspection. Yet he persisted, driven by a burgeoning sense of responsibility that extended beyond profits. "I've realized what matters most. We can't afford to ignore our personal lives, and the consequences of our actions will echo for those we lead. It's more than just a merger, it's about how we build a sustainable culture within our company." The sincerity spurred a moment of silence. Ethan could practically feel the wheels turning in the room. Some smiled, understanding his shift in priorities. Others shot him looks of confusion. Yet, he did not waver. What he had said felt right, spinning threads of connection where isolation had once prevailed. The meeting wrapped up shortly after, leaving him to wrestle with growing feelings of alienation from the cutthroat environment he had thrived in. Was he moving toward a fresh vision, or was it a one-off moment of clarity washed away by inevitable corporate tides? That evening, as he perched on the edge of his bed, phone in hand, he turned to Mia. "Hey Pumpkin, how's practice?" He tapped out with mounting apprehension. Each moment he spent away from her grated against his spirit. Every missed interaction weighed heavier as he sought authenticity in his transformation. Getting a response that evening changed the narrative internally. "It's good. I really hope you can be there on Friday. I'll score a goal just for you." Her innocence drew a moth to the flame of his guilt. He had to fulfill the promise to attend her game. But dark clouds lingered. Would his new commitment come with consequences he could not foresee? As Mia's words sank in, he felt a flicker of hope intertwined with the terror of the unknown. The next day, the stakes of the merger meeting escalated. His superiors pushed for commitments he had never fully agreed with. Would he compromise further for the sake of corporate ambition while his newfound priorities lay in the background, flickering like a fragile flame? As Ethan sat in the conference room facing daunting figures, an intuition surged within him, a conclusion waiting patiently to surface. What would happen if he stood firm against the pressure, voicing exactly what he envisioned for both his career and his family? With a surge of adrenaline, he recognized something profound dwelling just beyond his grasp, the opportunity to redefine success on his own terms. Would he dare to confront the definitions and sacrifices that seemed entrenched in the corporate culture? The thought loomed. This was the pivotal moment. Would he lead with the same courageous heart that wished to commit to his daughter, or would he falter under the towering expectations around him? The confrontation awaited, threatening to shake the foundations he had begun to lay. The conference room buzzed with the remnants of heated discussions, a palpable current of unease swirling around him as Ethan tried to anchor himself to the ground he had begun to lay. Every proposal on the table felt like a betrayal of his newly discovered priorities. With each figure whispered, he felt further away from the exhilaration of ambition that had once driven him. What would it take to confront the pressures bearing down upon him? When the meeting concluded, he found himself rising slowly, almost staggeringly, as if awakening from a trance. He needed time to think, to recalibrate his thoughts and feelings without the sterile weight of corporate expectations suffocating his resolve. He dared to break free from the norms of his environment, stepping into the dusky air outside, letting the breeze tug at his disarrayed thoughts. As he wandered the city streets, he reflected on the silent conflict growing within him. Each step away from the building was both liberating and terrifying. He was entering uncharted territory where every choice held the power to reshape not just his career but the relationship he had with his daughter. Memories flooded in the gentle way Mia's laughter echoed during their impromptu dance parties at home, the light in her eyes when she scored a tiny victory on the soccer field. But the harsh reality of the merger loomed over him. The company cared about numbers, emotion was not in their language. Yet, what if he could bridge this divide? The thought ignited a spark, and suddenly he paused, struck by an idea. He envisioned an alternative approach to the merger, one that wouldn't drown out voices of integrity and connection. Something that resonated not just with profit margins but with the humanity at the heart of the business, an approach that safeguarded personal lives while ensuring productive engagement. Returning to his office, he grabbed a notebook, realizing that defining this notion would not be enough. He would need to articulate it, rally support, and cultivate belief in the potential for a balanced path forward. The usual metrics of success were too narrow. He would challenge the board's insistence that business decisions must overshadow personal integrity. The next day was a turning point. Amidst the clamor of corporate posturing, Ethan prepared to present his vision, fueling it with the same authenticity that came from his love for Mia. If he hesitated, he risked succumbing to past paradigms, foregoing his values for the allure of corporate success. As he strode into the conference room, an undercurrent of tension crackled in the air. Colleagues filed in, and their wary expressions reminded him of the stakes. The room felt different. It was as if a decision hung over the meeting like a storm cloud, a moment poised on the precipice of change. Before we solidify our final plan for the merger, he began, his heart racing yet anchored by purpose, I want us to take a moment to consider what we truly value as a company. He felt the energy shift, a mixture of curiosity and skepticism swirling within his peers. With each word, he reframed the conversation around balance, illustrating how a culture rooted in integrity and well-being fosters long-term success. Faces that had once looked at him with confusion began to soften, and the atmosphere around him shifted. Intrigued eyebrows rose as he outlined how understanding the team as individuals created a solid foundation for business success. The meeting grew tense again when his supervisor interrupted him, throwing sharp questions designed to unnerve, but Ethan stood his ground, heart racing as he faced the scrutiny. Just this once, let us approach this merger differently, he asserted, feeling a rush of adrenaline. The tension was palpable, resting on the edge of breakthrough or fracture. Would he prevail, or would the weight of corporate pressure force him back into complacency? Even in that intensity, he realized the potential within him to change the narrative not just for himself but for those around him. The meeting ended without closure, leaving Ethan with a resonating challenge. Would his colleagues embrace this new vision or retreat into their familiar, sterile metrics? That uncertainty loomed over him, both exhilarating and terrifying. The moment of truth had arrived, he had lifted the veil, yet whether he could foster real change remained to be seen. Branding a new path forward demanded more than just courage, it required unwavering commitment to a vision that strayed from the beaten path. He steeled himself for the encounter he had to face. The answers lay in whether he could inspire action amid doubt. Was this truly the beginning of leading with heart, or merely a fleeting rebellion against the torrential corporate tide? The journey had only just begun. The echoes of the meeting lingered in Ethan's mind, a tangled mass of uncertainty and resolve. He sat at his desk in the weeks following that pivotal day, the weight of expectation pressing against him like a vice. Despite his bold declaration, the fallout had been tangible. Conversations around the office filtered away from his proposal, replaced by murmurs of fear about the upcoming merger, a corporate tidal wave crashing upon individuality and integrity. Ethan clenched his jaw, frustration boiling beneath the surface. The uproar had made him acutely aware of the danger. Invoking change could either elevate him as a leader or isolate him as a pariah. He needed to sharpen his strategy, aim for more than just inspiring words. The vision for his approach, meant to connect numbers with humanity, now required execution. He recalled the faces of his colleagues twisting in skepticism and doubt. Would they ever believe this alternative model? His mind flickered to Mia, who wouldn't see a lifeless office, she'd see a community. That vision bolstered him, pushing him to delve deeper. He needed allies, decision-makers who could see beyond the walls surrounding corporate strategy. Ethan began by reaching out to a few trusted colleagues, those who had once donned masks of indifference but now appeared conflicted. Rain poured outside as he met with Jules, a financial analyst known for her meticulous approach. They met in a quiet cafe, away from prying eyes, a sanctuary from looming corporate judgments. "I know you were hesitant during the meeting," he opened cautiously, gauging her interest. "But I believe we can hit the balance of profitability and employee well-being. The merger doesn't have to crush our values." Jules sat back, the wariness was still evident in her eyes. "It's noble, Ethan, but this isn't just about us anymore. It's far bigger than a few values." Her voice dropped almost conspiratorially. "The pressure is enormous. Numbers will always be king in the boardroom. What if we could redefine those numbers?" His voice trembled with urgency as he laid out the framework he had begun envisioning. "Imagine if we could report not only the financial growth but also employee satisfaction and retention rates as key performance indicators. It could transform how we position ourselves against our competitors." The tension in her shoulders slowly eased. "You're thinking outside the box, but will others follow?" Ethan let silence stretch, considering his next move. "If we can create metrics that genuinely reflect who we are as a company with genuine motivation behind them, we can change the narrative together." As they discussed further, Ethan felt embers of hope flicker, igniting determination. Conversations deepened as he roped in other allies throughout the organization, a passionate project manager, an HR director aware of the discontent brewing among employees. Each meeting carved pathways forward, unveiling aspects of themselves, hidden strengths that thrived outside corporate conformity. Weeks passed, yet the foundational doubts echoed. Each small triumph within their growing coalition was an innate challenge against the impending merger. They had to present not just a proposal but a collaborative ethos, one that rang louder than corporate tyrannies. The hour of reckoning loomed large as they amassed their insights and created a cohesive narrative around their vision. As Ethan clicked through slides for their upcoming presentation, he felt a powerful urge thrumming at the edges of his consciousness. This wasn't merely about lifting the company, it was about forging identities amidst the corporate chaos. On the eve of the presentation, he lay awake, rehearsing every line, every potential question and rebuttal. The fear of failure crawled over him, but underneath lay a pulse of relentless ambition. He thought of Mia again. If he could open doors for her generation, instilling a sense of integrity in business, perhaps he could alter the trajectory not only for himself but for countless others. As dawn broke the next day, illuminating his resolve, Ethan grasped the gravity of his task. It was now or never. With the meeting just an hour away, his breath quickened as he prepared to embark on a journey far greater than corporate red tape, a meaningful endeavor that sought to reclaim humanity within a world driven by profit. Would he be able to turn the corporate tide, or would his aspirations drown beneath the weight of conventionality? He stepped into the conference room, heart racing. The moment held everything: a risk shrouded in possibility, and the opportunity to wield his newfound strength. The air felt charged, crackling with potential, an electric moment where everything could change. And with that realization, the real test of his resolve began. The room was filled with an electric hum, the tension palpable as Ethan stood at the head of the long conference table, his colleagues shifting in their seats. Eyes were locked on him, a spectrum of expressions: curiosity, skepticism, and hidden anxieties. He could sense the weight of their expectations compressing the air. This was it. Each heartbeat resonated with the gravity of his mission. As he began, Ethan's voice carried a mix of conviction and vulnerability. Today, we have the opportunity to reshape our future. This merger doesn't have to swallow our identity. Our company can thrive by valuing not just profits but the people driving those profits. He paused, allowing his gaze to sweep the room, searching for flickers of understanding. The first slide illuminated the screen behind him, data brilliantly juxtaposed with images of diverse employees engaged in their passions. I know there are fears about the looming merger. But what if we pivoted? Instead of merely chasing numbers, we could redefine success itself by integrating employee satisfaction as a core performance indicator alongside our financial standing. Murmurs rippled through the audience. It was a gamble, but Ethan felt a surge of adrenaline. They needed to see that this was more than just words, it was a vision unified by tangible goals. Imagine quarterly reports celebrating growth not only in revenue but in workforce engagement. Metrics that matter. A company culture robust enough to attract top talent where individuals feel valued and empowered, ensuring sustainability beyond the bottom line. With each assertion, he fortified his resolve, willing the room to consider the possibility. Yet, instead of quiet contemplation, he sensed a palpable backlash. Bob, the CFO, interrupted with a derisive snort. "Ethan, that sounds nice and all, but what you're proposing is a fantasy. The numbers don't lie. We need hard data. Margins. Gains. Anything else is just a touchy-feely distraction." The weight of his disdain landed heavily, and Ethan's stomach knotted at the confrontation. "Respectfully, Bob," he began, feeling the heat rise in his cheeks, "the numbers you cling to reflect a reality that is changing. People don't just want jobs, they seek purpose. Our culture is faltering. Burnout rates are climbing, and retention is suffering. That affects our bottom line more than we realize." The words felt like a double-edged sword, confident yet reconsidering their potential fallout. His colleagues watched closely, awaiting their CFO's retort. "Prove it, then," Bob shot back, a glint of defiance in his eyes. "Show me where this path has worked. You're asking us to bet the future on the whims of emotions." Ethan's mind raced. He could feel the future of his vision perched on a precipice. What if I could provide case studies? He braced himself. "Let me take the lead on a pilot program, integrating these new metrics while maintaining traditional profitability focuses. Give me a quarter. If the results are lackluster, I'll accept the decision to proceed full steam ahead with the merger as is." A ripple of surprise coursed through the room, and for the first time, a flicker of respect seemed to flash in Jules' eyes. She leaned forward, sweetening the air with hope. "That's a solid offer. It could give us vital insights. We would want tangible outcomes for our teams and profit margins." Encouraged by her alignment, Ethan pressed on, weaving feelings into factual frameworks. "We can use surveys and focus groups to develop new KPIs. We promote this as a company-wide initiative. The team's input would be invaluable." The room began to awaken, subtle recognition dawning. Ethan had ignited a conversation instead of a mere presentation. It was a thread he had to grasp. As discussions rippled through the group, Ethan felt his confidence surge. He was building something more profound than corporate metrics. He was inviting others to consider a shared future. An identity rebuilt. Suddenly, the back of the room buzzed. Mia had entered, and her presence steadied him. Not just as a colleague, but a representation of the next generation. He caught her eye, and in that fleeting moment, a mutual understanding passed between them, a silent pact to strive for what mattered. But as the momentum built and the presentation reflected their evolving stance, a text buzzed on Ethan's phone from an unknown number. "Don't push too far, powers beyond your understanding want this merger unchecked." This could be dangerous. Ethan felt a shiver run down his spine. Who was this and what did they know? The stakes were rising, and soon he would have to confront more than just the board. Would he be able to navigate impending obstacles or spiral into an unseen betrayal? Ethan stood at the edge of a precipice, not just a literal one as he watched the city skyline glittering under the evening sun, but a metaphorical one. Each day since the pivotal board meeting weighed heavy with repercussions both personal and professional. The fear had prompted him to reset his priorities, embracing a fuller understanding of what it meant to be a father and, ultimately, a leader not merely focused on the numbers, but on humanity. Weeks had passed since that grueling presentation. The pilot program, which Ethan had sold with such fervor, was underway. Slowly yet steadily, results trickled in, affirming the renewed faith in his approach. Conversations that once felt strained began to flow from each employee, qualitative insights complementing the quantitative metrics that had previously shaped their strategies. It wasn't a perfect remedy, but it was the beginning of dialogue, a bridge he had yearned to build. Each report revealed a surprising trend. Employee retention rates improved, people began to feel an attachment, belonging. Yet, as success brewed internally, the dark clouds of external pressure loomed ominously. The anonymous warning text he received haunted him, a specter resounding with foreboding implications. The perilous nature of corporate ambition began to surface. Echoing in the back of his mind, the caution forced Ethan to tread carefully, alerting him that even a nascent personal revolution could be targeted by higher stakes. He could already sense the tensions within the boardroom changing. Colleagues who had once scoffed at his ideas were now shaken by the undeniable metrics backing his claims. Dissonance brewed, and each step forward felt like a defiant stand against the formidable tides that had previously ruled his life. "Mia, can you come over tonight?" he asked over the phone one night, the walls of his penthouse reflecting a newfound urgency in his quest for connection. There was much he wanted to share, much more than the glint of his corporate accolades. He wanted to show her his evolution, his strength beyond the empire built on silence. "Sure, Dad," she replied, a hint of excitement threading through her voice. "Wanna watch a movie or something?" Ethan chuckled softly, feeling warmth penetrate the anxiety tethering him tight. "Absolutely, but I want to talk about some things too." Beneath that conversational plea lay a gentle acknowledgement of their journey back to each other and the importance of communication moving forward. When Mia arrived, they settled on the couch with popcorn nestled between them, the flickering screen casting shadows of joy in their world. As the opening credits rolled, he gathered courage, initiating their heart-to-heart. "You know, I've been thinking about how I can be there more consistently." His gaze met hers, a warm challenge igniting in her eyes. "Actions, Dad. That's all I'm saying. No more words." Just Mia's voice trailed, her resolute maturity holding space for their shared history. Taking a deep breath, Ethan acknowledged her sincerity. "You're right. That's precisely what I wanted to discuss. I feel like I've begun to understand that a father's role extends beyond providing. It's about giving your time and presence." Mia turned her full attention toward him, her face a canvas waiting to paint his sincerity with hope. "I know I've messed up in the past, and fixing it won't happen overnight. But I'm here, truly here. I'm going to make sure that if I say I'll be at a game, I will be at a game. No late-night mergers, no excuses." His declaration felt potent, ignited by true conviction. It was one thing to formulate high-minded ideals, it was another to show his daughter that he could carry through on promises unburdened by corporate ambition. Reluctantly, the flickering screen awaited their attention as he met her gaze, urging her engagement. "How does that sound?" "I don't know," Mia responded guardedly. "You've said a lot before." "Fair point." He paused, burgeoning gratitude surfacing for Mia's relentless honesty. This was the essence of their bond. "So I want to ask. What you want from me? What can I do to show you I mean it?" Mia hesitated, vulnerability bubbling up to the surface. "How about every week, just time with you? No phones, no distractions. Just you and me." A lump formed in his throat. The simplicity of her request folded into something profoundly significant. "That sounds perfect. I'll make it happen," he promised, and as their eyes locked, the tentative distance began to dissipate, replaced by an unspoken agreement to heal together. Days turned to weeks, and choices settled into actions. As Ethan escorted Mia to soccer games, parent-teacher conferences, and countless other small moments that had once felt trivial, he savored every second. No moment felt mundane, each one pulsated with the life lessons they shared, from minor victories to whispered dreams. Meanwhile, the pilot program began garnering attention at the board level. Colleagues rallied around Ethan's South organic drive toward transformation, solidifying a collective understanding that while profits mattered, an engaged workforce was equally vital for long-term sustainability. The longer they sustained this course, the more palpable the change felt. However, the dark specter of that anonymous message lingered, reminding him to wield caution amidst the blooming hope. Just as internal harmony began to flourish, whispers of dissent crept into the quiet corners of performance reports, doubts seeping into conversations, the tide inevitably shifting against him. In the quiet victory of a Thursday morning, during their weekly meeting, the chatter became fraught with tension. "So, Ethan," Bob interjected after the discussion had meandered through corporate jargon. "It seems the pilot is gaining traction, but the question on everyone's mind is, how do we suddenly shift focus without compromising our credibility? We need to stick to the bylaws." Those words rolled like a stone, threatening to break the delicate web he was weaving. It dawned on him this was the ceiling to which he had once adhered without question, yet here he stood ready to redefine success beyond the isolation of revenue. "Bob, what if I told you that shifting focus doesn't mean a loss of credibility? What if new definitions of success are what ensure sustainability and future profitability?" Silence followed his evolution, responses hesitatingly forming in the tense air as eyes darted around. "Change can exist without chaos. It can introduce a new era for our company." The tension in the room rippled, awareness piercing through resistance. Bob snorted, crossing his arms tightly. "Change does not equate to success, Ethan. You may find your ideas have merit in academia, but not in a boardroom, where the stakes are high." Firmness resonated in response as Ethan leaned forward. "But Bob, isn't that the methodology we've clung to that has brought us here, potentially teetering on the edge of mediocrity? I'm offering us a way to feel as a company. Imagine a day when employees would rally behind an ethos that includes their voices, dramatic shifts in recruiting philosophies, improvement in engagement metrics, and authentic loyalty. Aren't those powerful visions?" As potential counterarguments ignited a spark in the air, he understood he could be on the verge of breaking through. The cost of silence was high, yet he felt an innate urgency to push further. A juxtaposition of trepidation and hope stirred within him as he braced for the flickering shadows. "Show me the numbers, then," Bob retorted, the challenge hanging heavy in the air. "A one-off pilot doesn't prove anything. This requires tangibility. Can you promise results?" Ethan met his gaze, the confidence surging in his veins. "The metrics are evolving, give it time. But I promise I'll showcase the heart that thrums behind every figure." As silence hung in the air, the feeling of standing on that knife's edge rippled through him. Time stretched, suspended as he braced for their responses, collecting himself against the prospect of the unknown. The journey toward balance of ambition and heart had just become pronounced against the looming pressure of corporate expectation. Would he succeed in building toward the dreams he wished to forge in reality, or would the powerful forces dragging him back into segmented ambition prove overwhelming?